then we actually we founded the guild. In Try, we created a guild with these guys we met online. There was
It was a very small, very small initial guild, but then
the Monster Hunter community
back in
was still pretty small back then.
2009, 2009.
The community was still pretty small at that time, so like, me and me and Jake went by the name the Narga Bros because we both always wore Narga armor. And that's kind of how we introduced ourselves online and stuff. But
Sweet.
like,
Narga armor is sexy, man. I love me some Narga.
Right.
Hell yeah. We made this guild with these guys, and then like, it lasted a while in Try, and then it just kind of fell apart because not like we knew them in real life or something. But
what was Try on? Was that PSP?
That was the Wii.
That was the Wii. Oh wow.
Yep.
Wow, damn. I actually, you know what? I take that back. My first Monster Hunter was one on PS2, but it was so clunky. I did not. It was my buddies, but I didn't know that we had a Monster Hunter game. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was the big introduction one to the West.
Dang. Did it take pretty well?
Well, it was in terms of because portable Freedom Unite also appeared in the West, but it's the one that
3U is the one that opened the door.
Well, yeah, 3U for sure. But Try had a bunch of commercials for it out here in the West, and it was the classic Ironbeard McCullough, I think is his name.
I believe 3U is the game. When 3U came out, I think it had it reached 1 million sales or something like that, which was a big deal in the West. That was the initial sort of I would say Monster Hunter put their toes in the door, and then with 4U, it grabbed even more people, and that's where a lot of people began. That's why so many people were excited about seeing Gore Magala in this game, because that's a lot of people's first Monster Hunter game, and so that was when Monster Hunter kind of had their fucking leg in the door, and then World came out, and then the door blew open.
And that old lady who was opening the door is still recovering.
She got knocked down.
My hip.
That's why we haven't seen her in so long. Yeah,
man. Yeah, I could see
what
World
happened.
being the big breakthrough. That's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm learning quite a bit about. Go ahead. Say what?
I said the community changed forever.
Yeah, I get that feeling, man. It's like I've mostly follow people either on Twitter or on YouTube, and the Monster Hunter community, they're strong, man. They're you don't see a whole lot of hate. I mean maybe about something they'll gripe about, oh man, I wish this game had that or whatever. But overall, player to player, it's pretty positive.
It is. Well, I think that when people talk about the toxicity of Monster Hunter community, it's always been there. I just think that, I've had negative experiences in Monster Hunter long before World was even a concept, but they were very rare and few and far between. And sometimes you would see it on in the past, before the community was really what it is today, you would find people a lot on the wiki forums or Capcom forums. You remember that shit, Jake?
Yes,
Capcom.
Wiki, the savior.
Yeah, forums, oh my god. I miss those days sometimes, but sometimes you would run into negativity in the forums every now and again. Recently on Twitter there was I don't know if you saw it, but there was a bunch of arguing about people kicking people for their weapon usage and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
That's not actually a new thing. It's just something that is more prominent and more highlighted because there's so many more people. So that did happen in the past, where somebody would come into a room and then somebody might look at your weapon or your armor or whatever it is that you're using, and they'll kick you.
Oh wow, dang.
Yeah, that's not new. It's just that, but it's not something that would happen commonly.
Yeah.
It wouldn't happen to you all the damn time. If anything, what usually would happen is you come into a room, because I've had to do this too, like being a room leader, somebody would come into a room and I look at your armor and I'm like, ooh, do you have anything else that you could use? Like,
You need some more attack and
You
whack.
don't want you to have a bad time.
Oh man.
my motto, my personal motto is that if you come into the room and your shit sucks, as long as you can stay alive and
Yeah.
Yep,
do your
exactly.
best to contribute, if you can do your best to contribute, if that means that you can only get a few hits in every now and then, that's fine.
Right.
Like, if you can do that at least, that's all I care about. If you keep dying,
Yeah. Don't fail the mission.
yeah, like if we keep failing because of you, okay, then I'll be like, okay. Instead of kicking the person, what I'll usually do is like, I'll tell them like, we need to change your armor. We need to do something about that. That's not
Right.
gonna work. Like, so pick something and we can hunt for it and we can get it for you. Because that's not gonna work.
Right.
Like, that's usually how I do it. But I ran into these guys in For You. Oh, gee. Oh, God. I've never forgotten that day.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Huh?
I think
So
I know what you're talking about.
Right. In For You, there were these relic weapons that were like, they would come with like random, like, stats on them or whatever.
Mhm.
And I got this greatsword that was like, it was like decent. It was like medium, decent raw, but like it had incredibly high paralysis. And like typically in the old days, you didn't greatsword with element or status in mind because it just wasn't effective.
Yeah, you need more like quantity of hits, not
Right.
quality of hits.
Quantity of hits and like so like I got into this room, mind you. Again, I'm a veteran player. I've literally
Great to see you.
been playing since the first one, and I have played almost every single Monster Hunter title in the series, like the entire franchise.
That's awesome.
Like, there's only like a couple, like Monster Hunter Frontier Z and like Monster Hunter Online, which I had Monster Hunter Online on my computer. I just never booted it up because I was playing GU, World, and Frontier at the same time, and so I was like, I didn't have it in me to pick up the fourth game, but like, I had this whole set that was based on like using the paralysis in this greatsword because it would proc after only like one hit. Like as soon as I hit like the first charge attack that struck the monster, would just paralyze it. And so this greatsword relied on your ability to paralyze the monster to create more openings for charge attacks to make up for its lower raw. And so like I was experimenting with this set and I came into this room and this dude started talking so much shit to me, man. He told me that I didn't know what I was doing, blah blah blah. Oh my god. And then he kicked me. I called Jake, I was fucking
You did?
furious.
You totally called me!
I was so mad. Oh my god, I wanted to choke that man through the screen. I was so angry.
Oh man.
I was so fucking angry, man. I was like, how dare you? I was like, I've been playing this fucking game for like 16 years. You son of a bitch. I was pissed.
Oh man.
Those kinds of experiences were really, he was talking so much shit to me, man. Like, but those kinds of experiences are really rare. So it's like, you know, I have like specific memories of negative things that I remember, but they're so rare. Like, but for the most part, like, you're right. Like, it's very positive. Like, I've had so many good experiences just playing with random ass people. Like, one of my favorites was in GU. I used this. So you'll find that I love paralysis. It's my favorite status. Like,
Yep. It's
I
bread
love
and butter.
Usually, that's usually my go-to. It just gives you a chance to wail.
God, see, a man of quality. A man of quality.
Of culture.
A man of culture, and I'm like, yeah.
So like,
I
had this paralysis set that I was using in GU that was really fucking good, and then I ended up coming into a room where the two other people in the room had the same. Well, they had the same set as me, but slightly different variations of each one. And so, like, that allowed each of us to do different things. And then we were all, like, slightly different colors. So we looked like Power Rangers.
Oh,
and,
that's
like,
awesome.
and so, like, right. And so, like, we would all do quests together. And, like, we'd go up against, like, a Thunderlord Genogua. And then, like, we'd be working in complete synchronicity because we'd all be doing the same things. And so, like, the monster would either stay paralyzed or stay stunned and would be unable to attack the entire hunt. And, like,
Lock it up.
yeah, we're talking so much shit, we're making jokes and stuff like that. It was a pretty amazing experience. I never saw them again, of course, but
Oh man.
Yeah. The thing about Monster Hunter in old days, it was kind of hard to keep in contact with people.
you'd probably, if you met somebody online that you really vibed with, you'd probably see them maybe a few more times. Yeah, you'd probably end up, like, hunting with them a few more times. But then eventually you just kind of fall off because it's like, you guys don't really know each other, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you meet and then you have those fun moments together. It's not like how we're talking now. In the old Monster Hunter, there wasn't none of that. It was just
Right.
like text, you know? It was like that text-based chat box stuff. Like, it was a big difference, but like...
Oh, like the in-game chat system.
Right.
Like yeah.
There was this one time in Try, I came across this guy who was a hacker, and he would fucking one-shot the Elatrions for us. And I wanted, at first, I thought it was appalling, but then I was like, I am doing free material.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I befriended the dude, and like, anytime he was online, he was like, "Do you need anything?" I'd be like, "Yes, actually." He's like, "Well, let's go shopping."
That's cool.
And there was one time, me and Jake, I hacked our leads so that we could do custom quests, kind of like what the PC players do now. And man, some of the quests in there were fucking wild. There was one where you had to kill, what was it, 20 great jockeys in 6 minutes? And that one was hard.
And there was a ton that would appear at one time.
Yeah. The thing about all of the custom quests is that they were completable, but you had to think outside of the box in order to win. And like, they were really tough. There was one where you had to fight 3 Elatrions at the same time. And like, that was really fucking hard. But what we figured out was that I took a lance, because Jake didn't like to lance, or he didn't know how to lance back then. And I went to the furthest back corner of the map, and I bunkered down by the wall, and I just let these fucking things attack me. And like, they did so much damage to each other that 2 of them died, and when the last one was still alive, Jake came out, and then we killed it together.
Dang.
Javi, I'm gonna interrupt real quick. You didn't get a chance to fight Magma, right?
No, I did not.
He's a lot smaller. A lot smaller.
He packs a punch, man.
Yes, jeez. His elemental strength on his weapons must be ridiculous.
Isn't that great?
He's hard to he can keep up with you. It's a faster Almudron and a lot more AoE nonsense.
It looks like
That is for sure. Yeah, he's like the current, I guess like the Rise Almudron, like times like 10 or 100. He's pretty ramped up.
yeah, people were having so much trouble with him.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty fun. I think well, there are some, I just had a conversation with this random on Twitter about like content creators in the Monster Hunter community. I don't like a lot of them. I don't like a lot of the main ones. I try to watch content of creators who have very low followers, just to kind of video boosts and stuff. I definitely don't like Gaijin. I've never liked Gaijin. Somebody was like, well, that's a weird thing that you don't like him. And I was like, no, actually it's not. I was like, I didn't like Gaijin when he first appeared back in 3U, like 7, 8 years, however fucking long ago that was. Like, I didn't like him then. I still don't like him now. much for the same reasons. But like, I don't like racing.
What kind of things don't you like about it? Just out of curiosity.
Initially, when he first arrived on the scene, he had this very, how should we say? I felt like he had this arrogant attitude that he was sort of the word on Monster Hunter.
I see.
And so, like, what ended up happening in the community, which you saw a lot of, was so before Gaijin appeared, there were no content creators, right? And people would just post Monster Hunter videos just to post Monster Hunter. You know what I mean? Like, it was just people hunting and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But they didn't have a particular focus. Like, it was just people just hunting and gaming. And Gaijin was the first person to sort of, like, try and capitalize on what he saw as an opportunity, of course. And so what ended up happening was that the community ended up sort of gravitating to this one and only content creator. And then all you'd ever fucking hear is, oh, Gaijin says that blah, 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 blah. Gaijin says that blah, blah, blah. That's not true because Gaijin said blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I don't give a fuck what Gaijin says. Like, he's not the fucking law on Monster Hunter,
Yeah,
dude.
that's true.
Like,
Yeah, dude, it's a game. Like, it's meant to be enjoyed.
yeah,
So,
like,
you know, it's...
the absolute power of Monster Hunter. Like, get out of
Right.
here. Like, I don't give a fuck what Gaijin said. And like, you know, I tried to I think recently I tried to give him a chance. I had a talk with Jake about it. And I was like, you know what, I will give this game a chance. And like,
The whole thing that I said about it was because I don't mind Gaijin. It's very much like a views thing and everything like that. Like YouTube, if you're trying to get into it professionally, like it's all you have to try all sorts of things.
I know. I think it's the worst offenders of it to that point. Well, before I get to that point, I tried to give Gaijin a chance, and then I think it was that thing that came up with the Elatria or the Fatalis fight in Stories 2, when he was like,
Oh yeah, that was a funny post.
he made this post talking shit about it being too hard, and then what was it? It what happened? Something came out later that like he was like shaming people for thinking, or people were complaining about something being too easy, and then he started like shaming those people or something. And then people were like, weren't you just fucking complaining a week ago that the game was too fucking hard, and now you're doing it? Like, what is it? And then he was like, he had this whole ass attitude, you know, he was cursing and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I gave you a try. I still don't like you. I definitely still
Well, that's unfortunate. But, I mean, it is, I mean, you know, there's still so much about, I mean, yeah, just... I mean, Gaijin can say one thing. I mean, like, there's so many other content creators, and then you can take all that, cherry pick what you want, and just kind of enjoy the game for what it is, and it's kind of make it your own kind of thing. Hello.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still here.
Oh.
He might sometimes he disconnects and everything.
Oh, I gotcha.
Oh my god, I have had to focus so hard. I'd be talking a little more, but
No, that's okay.
this fucker is
Are you in a lobby, or are you just kind of soloing stuff or recording?
just soloing stuff for recording through the
Okay.
story.
Gotcha.
What an interesting one. I like how they did his design.
What are you fighting again? I'm sorry.
Magma Almadron.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's a really cool design.
Too bad he doesn't have a great. I don't remember him having a great sword.
Let's see. We'll fight a Rajan. Yo, what's up? You were talking about just Gaijin and content creators, and I was saying, yeah, I totally get that, and yeah, you know, if people start swearing by like one content creator's word, you know, I can that'd be super frustrating. Like, dude, it's his opinion. Everybody else has
It's more so like it's good to have like it sucks because a lot of that comes about from a community aspect too, where it's like the community vets for somebody, and then there's this weird
they start to what is the word, like idolize these people, and I'm like, calm down.
Yeah.
And it causes kind of like weird strife within the community because it's like, well, no, they can't be right because such and such.
They start aligning themselves with different content creators and shit like that. I'm just like, ugh. Because the thing about the content creators that annoys me the most is that new hunters or new people to the community are never going to understand this unless they've had a similar experience with a different game. But like,
that was tough. Before
the era of content creators, the community was just a community, you know, like. Everyone shared, it was about community. Everyone shared information like equally, like everyone's opinions were equal. You know what I mean? Like it was just people being people, right. And like in a community. And then when the content creators appeared, it started sort of, instead of it being like a spread out energy, it started focusing in these focal points instead, and like collecting in these focal points. And now you have these big head content creators, Gaijin, Raging, Ruik, fucking Eric's and stuff like that, and all these people look up to them now. And instead of the energy being diffuse again, like just all about community, it's like collected in these areas, and I don't like that. That really bothers me.
Yep, I understand.
It really, really bothers me. And like, you know, a lot of these new players, they don't get that, of course, because like, you know, they weren't there for that stuff. Like we were there for those changes. Like I've had to see those changes happen over time, and they've been hard to accept, but you know, things are just changing. That's just how it is. And I think for me personally, when I disconnected myself from the community as much, I wasn't like interacting as much, and thankfully for me, for my own personal experience, I mean, throughout the years, I've been able to collect and create my own group of friends with our own guild, you know. Nice. So like, I don't need to be a part of the Monster Hunter community to still have my same Monster Hunter experience.
Right.
Because I already have that, and I built that for myself, like, or we have built that together over the years. And so like, I'm thankful enough that I don't have to do that, you know. I don't have to be a part of that, and by doing so, it allows my experience to stay preserved as the way that I used to know it to be.
Awesome.
Which is nice. But I mean, you training hard? There are some that I do like. I like Super Rad, even though I think he can be an asshole sometimes. But I think the reason why I like Super Rad so much is that his video essays are really comprehensive. They're very comprehensive, and like, he often takes the opinions of both new players and old players into evaluation when he says things. And I like that, because a lot of times as an older player, it feels like newer players are the highlight of things, and older players just kind of get put on the back burner. Like, everyone's concerned about the newer player experience, and they don't really care about the older player experience. And so like, that's how it often feels. And so I enjoy someone who takes both perspectives into account when they're talking about, you know, the changes and things that are like that are happening. I don't always agree with him on everything he does and says. Like, some of the things I think he says are just, you know, shut up. Like, but I also like that Jacob kid too.
Oh yeah. Something Dragon, I think.
Yeah, everybody was clowning him for that fucking dose video that he made.
Actually, I haven't seen any of his. I gotta go watch some of his videos for real.
I actually don't think it's that bad. It's like an hour and a half long. It's pretty fucking long. Like,
oh, I could just play it in the background. At least just listen. You guys are funny.
That's what I usually do. I usually just play them in the background. But like,
yeah,
he was trying to say that like Monster Hunter Dos was the last true Monster Hunter, and then he tried to explain why. Some of his points I agreed with, some of his points I disagreed with. Like,
Hey there.
you'll see that like some people have been complaining that like Monster Hunter is becoming too hack and slashy and not enough.
Like hunting.
Yeah. I kind of agree, but then I kind of disagree. So like, I'm an older hunter who has been dreaming of the day that we would get fights like we have in Sunbreak.
Nice.
That were very reminiscent of Frontier. Like, I like that stuff. But then at the same time, I do agree that we should, within that, we should not lose the element of what makes these hunts actual hunts, which is like being able to use your environment, having to prepare and think about the environment you're going to be in, and like needing hot and cold drinks and all that stuff like that goes into that. And like, that stuff should not be forgotten in, you know, in an effort to make the fights more outlandish and crazy, you know? Like, let's make some crazy intense fights, but like, let's still keep them as hunts, you know?
Right.
That's kind of how I feel about that one.